Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and it's time to talk about match day 6 of the Champions League. I know it's flew in, match day 6. If it was any other year before this would be it. This would be the final game we'd be talking about, but of course, new format, 8 games in the league phase compared to the old 6 in the group stage. We've still got a while to go, but nonetheless, a huge game for Celtic, and victory could basically ensure us we're through to the next round. So, massive. And we're playing a team who, in their own words, are in crisis. Would just be like Celtic to bottle it then. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We are so close to 47,000 subscribers. So please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It's absolutely free. Just very quickly, by the time this video is live, I will be in the air. I will be halfway to Zagreb. I fly out in the morning. I'm recording this at 20 past 11 on Sunday night. I've just finished commentary duty for ICW. My flight is early tomorrow morning with my first of 2 flights. So I'm going to try and kind of rush through this. I want to get it done and uploaded and out there for you guys so you have some form of match preview. So apologies if anything does feel rushed, if the quality's maybe a wee bit lesser than usual, but we're here. We're here and we're always here, and that's what matters. So here is a look at the Champions League table as we move into match day 6. Failure to beat Club Brugge at Celtic Park means Celtic sit 20th in the league table right now, but still in a very good position. 8 points after 2 wins, 2 draws. You've got to talk about the highlights. Leipzig, that huge win at Celtic Park. Atalanta, a side who looked like they could win the Serie A this year. It was a fantastic point. It looks even better as the weeks go by. This has not been a bad start. And even though I said that failure to beat Bruges has held us back a little, listen, they're the champions of Belgium. They're a great side, and they had more than any right to come to Celtic Park and think they could win the game. So we dealt with it well, and I know I was disappointed with the performance on the night, and if you go back and watch my match reaction, you'll see how disappointed I was. I still am, but I understand how difficult a challenge it was, and that goes for tomorrow's game against Zagreb. Once again, you're facing a side where you do fancy your chances, but you realise that they're in this competition for a reason. I don't want to hit out with all the same cliches. Oh, they're the champions of Croatia, and they're here because they're good, and no team is easy. But it's true, no team is an easy game in this competition. And even though Zagreb are going through the ringer a wee bit, if we just remind ourselves of the Champions League table, they're not far behind Celtic. 7 points, 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses. Both of us have been at the hands of... let's just say forgettable Champions League defeats for us fans. Zagreb started off with that nightmare 9-2 loss against Bayern Munich on match day 1. Celtic lost 7-1 to Borussia Dortmund on match day 2. The German clubs have dished out the spankings to both of us, but Zagreb have clawed it back, and clawed it back pretty well with some big results, which means both of us are in the same position in this game. A win putting us in a fantastic position for progression to the next round. And despite Zagreb not being too good at the minute, that will be on their minds. They are searching for their first win since the 5th of November. That's right, they've not won in over a month across all competitions. The Croatian Premier League, the Croatian Cup, the Champions League. They're searching for that win. But this is the game that they'll be looking at as a chance to kickstart their season, to put them in a great position in the Champions League, and ultimately turn round their fortunes. I don't want Celtic to be the subject of that. They are in crisis though, and things aren't looking good. It's a great time for Celtic to be playing them, and I think on paper we all looked at this as the most winnable away game, and I mean that with respect. I'm not saying that this is a game that Celtic are guaranteed to win by any stretch of the imagination, but you think of Aston Villa, Borussia Dortmund, Atalanta, and then Zagreb. There was clearly one of the away games in which Celtic fans fancied their chances most, and it's this one. And the state that Zagreb go into this game isn't good. All the headlines are pointing towards a decimated Dinamo, the club admitting that they are in a crisis at the moment, and things are turning a bit toxic at the football club. Here is just some context for the situation. Dinamo Zagreb only have 14 fit players for this match against Celtic tomorrow night, and the manager has his back's to the wall looking for that win. I mean, this was an article here talking about how they're in crisis, the ultras aren't happy, and that, you know, the letter to fans was wrote as, we are in a crisis of results, which has largely been influenced by injuries to the most high quality of our first team players. There is no crisis within the club, but we are in a results crisis and trying to work our way out of it. Surrender is not an option in Dinamo's DNA. It's crazy. I've never came across this situation as a Celtic fan where we've faced a side who are in a situation like this where they're writing open letters to the fans. If anything, this is very resemblant of situations Celtic have been in the past, where we've went into big games, and you think of the COVID season when we were dishing out statements and we had European games, and you think about all these times where there's been bans for the Green Brigade, or there's been some real uncertainty amongst the support, and we've had to go and face these games. But now the shoe's on the other foot, and I'm quite nervous about it, in all honesty. I think that this will give Celtic fans a real belief that tomorrow should be a win, and I agree with that to a certain extent, but not to the extent of entitlement, and not to the extent where a win is all I'm thinking about. This is still going to be a tough game for Celtic, and if you look at the Dinamo Zagreb squad, despite their injuries, there is some good players in there. The one that jumps out to me, Martin Bacerina, the young Croatian midfielder who is one of the most watched youngsters in Europe at the minute this season, with 2 goals, 7 assists, 9 goal contributions in his 23 games. Some other players that you'll be familiar with throughout the squad that have played all over Europe if you look up and down it, but of course ravaged by injury. Still though, it's that false sense of confidence that usually comes back to bite Celtic. This reminds me of when we played Copenhagen. And, you know, it was that, in the eyes of Celtic fans, it was a surefire thing. Oh, we'll win, we'll go through. Battered. Bodo Glimt, we'll win, we'll go through. Battered. It's almost like when Celtic get comfortable, or especially Celtic fans get comfortable, we are then surprised by our own disappointment. And I don't want that to be the case tomorrow night. I really don't. So just be wary of that. Don't lump too much expectation on yourself that Celtic will wipe the floor with Zagreb tomorrow. They're a good team who deserve the respect of us, and a side who are rightly the champions of their nation. And we both have something massive to fight for, and that is qualifying for the next round of this competition. So as they search for that win, it will give them all the more motivation to finally do that against Celtic, to get that win that they've been looking for. So don't get overzealous about things, please. Thank you. On that note, Celtic have showed in Europe this year that they are a different team, different from the years of past. Let's take Dortmund out of the equation for a minute. That was a bump in the road, but I mean, we've been getting better and better. Bruges wasn't quite what we expected, but still nonetheless a good result in terms of the bigger picture. Celtic have showed that they can go away from home and compete. Atalanta was all the evidence that we needed. So I expect us to turn up tomorrow, play our normal game, and try and find that 3 points. We've got a very good side who are banging form. I mean, you compare our league position right now to the position of Dinamo Zagreb. We're unbeaten, flying 9 points clear at the top of the league, whereas Dinamo Zagreb, they're third place in the Croatian Premier League table. They're chasing. They're 6 points behind top side Rijeka, and the manager's talking about potentially getting sacked and all the rest of it, whereas, you know, we're enjoying the best start to a league season we've ever had. So it's two completely different looking situations between both sides. And I expect Celtic to go, look, listen, Hamish was on my channel for the last game, the Bruges game, and he said something very, very good in that video, and that was that Celtic fans need to stop putting themselves down sometimes. And obviously that doesn't apply to everybody. None of what I say applies to everyone. Everyone is different. They've got their different opinions and their different approaches to games, which is more than fair. But Hamish said something very, very good in that video that I posted, that was Celtic fans are really good at putting themselves down and really thinking that we can't do things and lowering their expectations too much. When we should be proud of what we're doing, we should be confident of what we're doing, and we should be approaching these games with a winning mentality and a winning attitude. And I think it's just because we've been hurt before in these games that we are very cautious at jumping to winning conclusions, but we should be confident of what we can do tomorrow because we've had all the evidence we need this season. There's nothing more that Celtic could do this season apart from maybe avoid that spanking in Dortmund. There's nothing more that Celtic could do to fill us with faith going into tomorrow night's game. So yeah, from that point of view, I think we've got every right to be confident with that cautious optimism that goes alongside it, but thinking that, hey, we've done our part to believe. We've done enough in this season to warrant this confidence. So I'm really looking forward to it. And we're in a really, really good place. Of course, I am recording this before Brendan Rodgers' press conference, so touch wood that nothing is said in that press conference that changes the landscape of tomorrow's game. We should be going with a fully fit side. There shouldn't be any problems. There was questions raised as to why Nicholas Kuhn was brought off at half-time at the weekend. Brendan Rodgers confirmed that was just purely tactical. There was nothing wrong with injuries. His explanation was that we were just losing the ball far too much on the right-hand side and he needed James Forrest to come on and protect and retain that ball, which he's been so good at throughout his career. That was his quote on screen. So it wasn't anything to do with injury or fitness. We didn't suffer any injuries at the weekend, so we go into this game with a squad in a really good position. And Brendan Rodgers kind of spoilt for choice. I think predicting this game, the starting the lineup for this game, has probably been the hardest it's been for Europe so far. I'm not going to bother with the full 11 because I've not got all night to sit and make the graphics, but if I was to run through it very quickly for you guys, and listen, by the way, weekend, we done so well at the weekend for the Hibs game. We got 11 out of 11 players and the score right. I got all 11 players right. I said 3-0. It happened. We've actually been very good this year predicting the team on this channel, I will say. But I think that we'll see, obviously, that normal back four that we've got kind of used to now. I think it will be Johnston, Trusty, Vickers and Taylor. I don't think Valley's going to get back in the team after Taylor's performance at the weekend, which is more than fair. Of course, Kasper Schmeichel in goals. I actually have a feeling Paulo Bernardo will start tomorrow. I said that at the weekend. I think that he'll come on. He'll start and play the game alongside Arne Engels. I don't know. Don't ask me why. I think it's going to be McGregor, Bernardo, and Engels. And I know that I've been a real I've really pushed the narrative that Hatate needs to start in these European games, and I stand by that narrative. But I think in recent weeks, Paulo Bernardo has done more to deserve a start, and I just think he'll get it. So I'm going with McGregor, Bernardo, and Engels to start in the midfield three. And the front three will be, of course, Kuhn, Kyogo and Maeda. I think that will easily be the front three, so I think that's the easiest part to predict. But that's my team for tomorrow. I said I wasn't going to go through the whole team then, I did. Just enjoy it without a graphic. But it's a team that's good enough, and then you've got the options of Hatate, McCowan to come off the bench. You've got Adam Ida there as well, who could offer that physical presence that you might need. You've got Alex Valley, who can come on if Taylor does struggle. You've got all these different options. We're in a really good place. Brendan Rodgers is lucky to go into these games without any injury problems at the minute. So I'm confident on that front, which is good. Compared to the 8 players that Zagreb are missing, I must say we're doing pretty well. And that's that. I think Celtic can do it. I'll be there, and I have never seen Celtic winning the Champions League away from home in the flesh. I've not been to many. So in terms of Champions League, I've been to Leipzig. I've been to Poland to see us play Shakhtar Donetsk. I've been to Madrid. And I think that's it. All my other times away from home have been in the Europa League. I'm pretty sure. So this is a real opportunity for Celtic to do something for me I've not had yet. So hopefully I'm not a curse. And we get a result tomorrow. But look for me in the stands. I'll be up cheering and waving the boys on. I think we can do it though. I do. I truly do believe we can do it. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Celtic win. And that's with that cautious side of me on display. Listen, I think that I'd be lying to you and myself if I said I go look at this game and go Zagreb, because the state that they're in, the players that they're missing, Celtic should be capitalising on that. And I'll say this to kind of wrap things up. Ultimately, I would be disappointed if we didn't capitalise on it. I don't think you get chances like this very often. And when you consider the fact that a win can basically secure us a spot in the next round, it would be stupid to throw it away. It would be stupid not to take advantage of it. And we look back on it, I think, very annoyed, because it would put so much pressure on the young boys game. It would be, it would put the pressure through the roof for that game, in fact, and I don't think Celtic can be dealing with that at the minute. So, or should be dealing with it, I should say. They can deal with it. They obviously can deal with it, but I don't think we should put ourselves in that position to deal with it. It shouldn't be on the agenda. So yeah, tomorrow, I think we can get the job done. I hope we can get the job done. I think we'll get the job done. Right, I need to get this edited. It's 25 to midnight and I need to get to my bed soon. So thank you. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe. As I said, apologies if this has seemed more rushed or not. There is not... It's the same standard as usual match previews. I'm sure you can forgive me for this one time only. I'll be back with a match reaction following the game as well. Don't worry. But until then, take care. God bless. And I'll see you all next time.